Welcome back. So Sunday, October the 6th was World Teachers' Day, and of course a day set aside by UNESCO in conjunction with the ILO to draw attention to the contributions and values that teachers bring to the education sector. But beyond the yearly ritual and celebration and themes, what progress have we made to upgrade our teachers, who also use the day, by the way, to remind everyone that their reward is here on earth, not in heaven? Let's join the conversation. And joining me on the program this morning is the Chief Executive and Registrar of the Teachers Regulation Council of Nigeria, Dr. Ronke Soyombo. She's right here with me in our Abuja studio. Good morning, Dr. Soyombo.
Good morning, and thank you so much for inviting me.
And thank you for holding on and for arriving early.
Thank you.
Despite the challenge.
Thank you.
So this year's celebration is recasting teaching as a collaborative profession. How is this theme relevant to the plight of teachers, particularly here in Nigeria, where the concern is always about issues around remuneration, training?
Thank you very much. I'll take the word collaboration because that's something we have seriously focused on for this year's teacher celebration. We need to emphasize that more because if teachers, you will see that every teacher has a gift and our gifts are very different. But what we're propagating in education is for everybody to come together, plan lessons together. You might be 3 teachers teaching a particular year group. If you plan things together, you're bound to actually bring in more ideas than somebody just working in isolation. So at all levels, that is something we're propagating. And when you look at the 21st century education as well, it is very important that we cascade that down also to our children, because we expect children to have the 4 C's in classes. When we say the 4 C's, we're talking of collaboration. Allow our children to collaborate, allow them to have mixed ability groupings. Sometimes you can have ability groupings, but all those things are the things that will bring education to the limelight, really. And that's something we're seriously emphasizing. And I must say teachers are really, really eager this year to see how they can really build more on that, on collaboration in their different schools. And also another thing is in terms of leadership as well, teachers can go to other schools, see the school that is performing really well. How can I share the good practice from here? Because in every nonsense, there is a sense. Even though you might say that school is not good, that school is not, visit somebody else's school. You will see something you can take away back to your own school, something you can do, something you can replicate, because no man is an island. So we've got to work together. And that's something we're seriously propagating this year.
It makes a lot of sense. Collaboration is key in any field. But I'm just wondering how motivated Nigerian teachers are to collaborate, particularly those in the public sector. But we'll have time to talk about that. Let's look at what is, resounding from yesterday's celebration. And the First Lady was also speaking. She talked about the global teacher shortage. And the NUT also spoke to the same issue yesterday and drew attention to 194,000 plus shortage in teaching in Nigeria. That is concerning. I wonder what the mandate or how positioned is the TRCN's mandate to help reduce this shortage?
Thank you very much. With that, there's no doubt about that we have shortages of teachers. However, what we're doing is, how can we, because we are professionalizing teachers, and you cannot be professionalized if you don't have the teaching degree. So what we are doing with this particular government, under the leadership of Dr. Lausa, is that we are accelerating professional diploma in education. For people that don't have it, now is a time where they will be able to have access. Instead of using the 1 year, we're actually accelerating into 6 months, so that as soon as they finish the course, then and this is only for experienced teachers, because we have quite a lot of experienced unqualified teachers. They're graduates of other disciplines, but they're not educationists. So as soon as they come in, those are the kind of things that will make us to have more teachers into education. So we're going to be having a lot of teachers coming into education because people are very eager now to get accelerated as quickly as possible, and in order for them to get certified as well. with TRCN. And that's something that TRCN is doing. And the other thing that TRCN is doing is, when it comes to teachers, how can we upgrade our teachers? We are also supporting them with resources in classes. So that, what we're setting up is teachers supporting teachers, because there are some very cream teachers that are very, very good. And what they're doing is, how can they plan lessons for the others to actually be supported? So that's going to encourage a lot of teachers to want to come in. So, those are the kind of things we're doing in order to increase the number of teachers in schools.
So, let me get clarification on something. Is it a lack of trained teachers, those who actually went to teacher training colleges, that is the challenge? You know, the lack of interest in that area? Or we have more of what we have is those who have qualified in other fields, but they do not have the opportunities for employment in their fields, and then they resort to teaching as a profession. Which trumps the other in the challenge that we have in the teaching profession?
I think we have problems. We have the two scenarios that you've actually described. Definitely, we have a lot of teachers who are, we have a lot of unqualified teachers, if I can call them that, who are teaching in our classrooms, but they don't have the teaching qualifications, particularly in our private schools. And it's one thing for you to say you've been to the school very well, you're well clued up and everything, but you may not have the pedagogy of how to actually break it down to suit the needs of the children. And that's why it cannot be one cap fitting all. So everybody has got to address that. And as soon as we have the accelerated program, that's going to bring a lot of teachers in, because a lot of teachers also, they might want to come to our public schools, because what is stopping them from coming to public schools is because of not having education degrees. So those are the kind of things we're looking at. And NTI is actually very well, they've actually prepared for this very well now, for them to be able to admit a lot of teachers that will be coming in, or unqualified teachers that want to come and upgrade themselves as quickly as possible.
So that's part of your mandate?
It is part of our mandate at the moment.
Let's go to our Lagos studio, and I'm sure Kayode has questions for you, hopefully about remuneration, which is key.
Well, thank you, Bukola. But let's start with the numbers. Can you give us a sense of just how many teachers we have registered in Nigeria, madam?
Oh, with TRCN?
Yes, please.
At the moment, we've got about 1.4 million teachers on a radar, and our target within the next 2 years is to get to 20 million, because with that, what we have done is to actually digitize our system so that we can embrace people more. All the things that have acted as hindrances before will not be able to actually deter people anymore. So a lot of people will be able to access us online, and quite a lot of people are finding it easy now, because now that we have trcn.gov.uk, they can do all their transactions online, and also they can print out their certificates at the comfort of their homes. So that's going to increase the number as quickly as possible.
I think you meant to say trcn.gov.ng. Am I correct? Not
.ng, yes.
Okay, .ng.
Oh, no, sorry, .ng.
No, it's okay.
.ng.
When you work across different time zones, these things happen. But I also want to speak to what do we imbibe in our teachers, right? Because we see a lot of box stops at the teachers' tables, that, of course, the parents as well. But from time to time, you see that the standard varies across board. And I imagine for even teachers that are registered. So what is the minimum standard that is expected from a teacher who is registered in terms of the approach to teaching the students, in terms of the knowledge, upgrading yourself? We'll talk remuneration, which is very important. But I want to know what the minimum standard is. What do we imbibe in our teachers such that they then imbibe that in the students or pupils?
Yeah, thank you very much. We expect very high standard in our teachers, because I tell people that if the standard is low, then the standard that our children will be getting will be very low. So we expect high standard. With NCE teachers, we expect them to be well qualified, and particularly with maths and literacy, you will see that these are the kind of things that we're actually testing now with professional qualifying exam. in TRCN, before you can get the certificate of TRCN, you've got to do the 5 subjects. And those 5 subjects will be mathematics, literacy, digital literacy, we have pedagogy, and also safeguarding. Because with all this, it tells us where the standard of the teacher is. We expect every teacher to actually have at least the basic knowledge of mathematics and English. Because if you don't have this, you cannot cascade it down to the children. Subject knowledge in their teaching areas will be very, very important to us. And also, in terms of how do you actually differentiate lessons? And that's the pedagogy, because you can be a graduate from another area, from another discipline, but how effective are you as a teacher? So all those things are very, very important to us. And how do you differentiate lessons? How do you personalize it to suit the needs of those children? So it is very critical for teachers to read about all this now. And what we're doing in order to support our teachers at the moment is, you will see that on our website, we've actually got a particular portal on resources. So with resources, it empowers them on what to read to prepare for the exam. And we don't just want people to prepare for exam, but we want them to practicalize it in the classroom so that it becomes part of them.
So here comes...
It can actually have a positive effect on our children.
Indeed. So here comes the elephant in the room question. We always say, to whom much is given, much is expected. But let me flip it. To whom much is expected, much must be given as well. It's hard to find children these days say, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. And it's obvious. They see their teacher who's teaching them and they say, do I want to be like this person? No. So they say, you know what, I want to be like Wizkid, or I want to be this and that. What exactly is the issue with remuneration when it comes to teachers? You find teachers these days who are earning 20,000 naira, 25,000 naira, and they're expected to imbibe knowledge. The only thing I see them imbibing is frustration on these children.
Thank you very much. That's still an area that we're looking into, because whether we like it or not, we need to raise the profile of teachers. We need to raise their morale as well, because with that, a lot of children definitely see that, and we're not going to hide from that fact. But at the same time, there are quite a lot of states that are paying good rates to our teachers at the moment, but we still have few private schools where teachers are seriously underpaid, and that's something we're looking at, because now we're doing a lot with our non-government schools in order to see that all these people are being catered for. But remuneration is going to be is a great way to raise the profile of teachers, but that's something that government is looking into.
Speaking of government now, let's begin to look at the real issues, which is another elephant in the room. I wonder if this has to do with, politics and such agencies are not able to be forthright with governments in demanding accountability. I read the other day, UBEC is lamenting the inability of the state governments to utilize 250 billion naira of UBEC funds to enhance, which is teaching and learning is part of what UBEC funds will enhance. You have headed UBEC before, Ogun State, I believe. Is that correct?
No, I was just a special advisor.
Okay, special advisor. So and NUT sometimes, are they forthright enough in demanding accountability from the state governments? What are the issues at the heart of, effective utilization of UBEC funds?
Well, I would say sometimes it has to do from state to state, because if governors are not ready to do the counterpart funding, that can affect the use of funding from UBEC. So to me, it's something that depends on individual states on how they are actually utilizing it. But at the same time, there are quite a lot of states that will always give their counterpart funding, and we can see the improvement in different states, because and that's why it's from state to state really. Because when you look at Enugu, for example, Enugu, with what we have seen there, it's very, very alarming, because we have a lot of smart city schools, and every class has interactive whiteboards, and that's because they have worked with UBEC to be able to develop this. To mention but a few. So we have states like that.
Can we mention states that are not meeting the requirements? I'm going to put you on the spot, right? But it's important to have this conversation.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure there will be states like that, but I don't have them at the moment.
Off
really.
the cuff, convenient answer. But as we wind down now, you say that states are beginning to improve on remuneration.
Yeah.
But we know that the minimum wage in the states vary. Our teachers,
varies, yeah.
our teachers on a different pay grade apart
Yeah.
from the minimum wage. I'd like you
Yeah.
to speak to that.
Well, teachers are, most teachers are on minimum wage as well, depending on what the process is in individual state. And that's why I said everything depends on governors. Because if the governor is actually giving the minimum wage, definitely teachers will be remunerated well as well. So to me, what we're seriously saying to every governor is, please support our teachers. Because everybody has got to realize that teachers are very, very important. We are the heart of building the, human capital. And that's not an area that you can joke with. And that's something that everybody is beginning to see that, look, teachers are very important. NUT must speak out. We must not be quiet about it. And that's something that we're doing together.
Very quickly, in 10 seconds, what's the least teacher earning in a state? What's the highest the principal is earning?
Okay. I'll say some principals are on level 17, which is about 300,000 plus. And the least would be, we have states where teachers are earning about 20,000, which is not looking good.
Which is not looking good at all. 20,000, 300,000 for a principal is not, ideal at all. And our state governments must do beyond, go beyond the usual rhetoric of celebrating World Teachers' Day to doing right by our teachers. We must thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking with the Chief Executive and Registrar of the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, Dr. Ronke Shoyombo, who has joined us here in our Abuja studio. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. Thank you.